So let's dive into bubble sort algorithm in Python. So bubble sort algorithm now is an algorithm that sorts an array from the lowest value to the highest value. So this helps you to sort an array in order. And how does this array work now? The first thing this array does was that it goes through the array now one value at a time. It looks through this array one value at a time. Then for each value now, it compares the value to the next value on the array, right? Just compare it to the neighbor, the next value on the array. And now if this value is greater than the next value on the array, it swap the value so that the highest value will be the one coming last. So let's say we have 2 and 1 now. 2 is greater than 1. It swaps this value whereby 1 comes before 2 and 2 comes last because 2 is the highest value, right? So it goes through this array so many times, okay? Then it goes through the array many times more and it repeats this same process whereby any value is come across. Okay, now let's now see the next number now is, okay, after it has swapped 1 and 2, it's meeting 0 again. After 2, it is swap 0 and 2 again. Then it repeats this process. Let's say it's just like an array of 0, 1 and 3 and 2, right? It repeats the same process again, but repeating it again, it will neglect the last element, which is 2, which it just finished sorting. So it will just compare 1 and 0, and because 1 is greater than 0, it brings 0 forward and 1 backward. Then we now have the value sorted 0, 1, 2. So that's how the bubble sort algorithm works. So we just go ahead and define our function right here, and we'll call it what? Bubble sort, right? So if we call this our function bubble sort, the next thing we want to do here is to define our parameters, and all we just need to have in this bubble sort algorithm is just our list. So I'll just say my list again, or you can call it array, whatever you want, just call it what you want. So first thing we want to get is the length of this list. So I'll just say n is equals to the length of my list, right? So we will need the length of this list so that we can determine the range we are looping through in this. So I want to loop through this array a couple of times, and that's like looping through it, because when you're getting the length of the list, you're getting the actual length in real world terms, but computer will start counting from 0, so it's going to be subtracted by 1. So we are looping through this for I in range n minus 1. So we're looping through this just like this for I in range n minus 1. When we loop through this now, we want to loop over every array from the start. They want to stop at the last index that was sorted. You might not get what I'm saying now, but let me just write the code and explain this further to you. We'll be using J now for J in range n minus I minus 1. So n minus 1 here is also repeating the same thing. Then minus I is also neglecting every sorted value that have been sorted before. So I'll just show you that now. Okay, let me just have a comment right here to show you that. So let's say we have 2, 5, okay, 2 right here, 5, 3 and 6. So the first thing this algorithm do is compare 2 and 5. Then since 5 is greater than 2, it leave it like that because it's sorted that way. Then compare 5 and 6, right? 5 and 3. And since 5 is greater than 3, it swap these two, whereby it brings 5 right here and 3 right here. Then you go ahead now and compare 5 and 6. And since 5 is less than 6, that 6 is greater than 6, this is sorted. Then when repeating, going through this loop again, let's assume this part is not fully sorted. When repeating this list again, we want to neglect this part. We don't want to compare this value again because this part of the array is already sorted out. It has been sorted. So that's why we are using this n minus 1. So when we are looping through this for the first time, n is equals to 1. So us neglecting 1 now is just like, okay, the length of this list now as a whole is 4. Then us minusing 1 there now is 3. So we are looping through like, then minus another 1 now is going to be 0, 1, 2. Okay, you get what I'm saying? So that's how it's going to be. So after this now, what we want to do is compare my list, the index of J and the index after J, the value after J, after that index. So we're going to have my list again right here. We're saying J plus 1 right here. So just go ahead. So we're comparing these two now. And in this case, if the one before J is greater than that, we want to swap this. So I'll just go ahead and say my list, and what we are actually doing here is swapping these two. So I have J right here, my list J, then array j plus 1. So I'm defining this, sorry, this is my list. So I'm defining these two like this. So my list j and my list j plus 1. So I'm swapping this by doing this j plus 1. So I'm setting the element right here at the index j to the element at the index j plus 1, and I'm setting the element at the index j plus 1 to the element at j. I sure hope you understand what I'm saying. J plus 1. Okay, so it's j. So that's what we are doing, and at the end of this for loop we just want to return my list. So that's what we want to do. We want to return my list, right? Okay, so let's test this now and let's see how it's working. Let's just say I have my list here and I set this to 35, 23, 6, 60, 20 and 80. So this array, okay, this 35, this array is not sorted this way. Okay, I set it to something like this, and now I want to call on this function. What I am going to do right here is just simply say print bubble sort. Okay, I'm giving it my list, right? So if I should go ahead and run this now, we are getting this value sorted out. Now see, this is the array we inputted and this is the value we are getting outside. That's because the first time you compare this 35 and 23, you notice that 35 is greater than 23. So now this is j 35 and j plus 1 23. That's because at index 0 j plus 1 will be 0 plus 1. That's this next index. When you compare these two, you notice this is greater than this, right? So it sets the index j to what is at the index j plus 1. So you set 23 here, then now for 23 it set what is formerly at index j there, that's 35. So you just swap these two like that, swap these two, and that way it's compared to the next value, to the next value, to the next value till they are sorted. Then in a way whereby they are sorted, it ignore the sorted part of it, then continue with the part that is not sorted. That's the essence of this n minus 1, n minus I minus 1, just to ensure that we don't compare the last value we've sorted out before. So that's all you need to know about bubble sort algorithm in Python. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.